The next topic that we're going to talk about is the date function on the financial calculator. And before we learn the date function, what we need to do is format our financial calculator to at least 6 decimal places. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on second, format. So second function, top left corner, second function, and then you click on format. Format is the very bottom. You click on format, and then we're going to change it to 6 decimal places. So you put 6, and then you press enter, and then now we set it to 6 decimal place. So and then you clear. So again, second function, format, and then you press 6, enter, and then you clear. So once you've done that, then you have set your financial calculator to 6 decimal places. The reason you want to set it to at least 6 decimal places is because when we're calculating interest, even a small changes in the percentage will affect the answer. So therefore, we want to be very accurate. We want to have as many decimal places as we can so that we can get a more accurate answer. So once we learn about the format function to set our financial calculator to at least 6 decimal places, then now we can learn about the date function. And what the date function does is that it helps us determine how many days are between 2 different dates. So in the example that we have here, we want to determine the number of days between April 23rd to July 21st. And what we're going to do is first step, I gave you the steps in here. First step, second function, date. So second, top left corner, second function, and then we press date. Date is right above the 1. Once we press the second function and then date, we're going to see DT1. So DT1 represent the first date. So first date is April 23rd, 2015. So what we're going to put in here in step 2 is 04.2315. And that represent April 23rd, 2015. So 04.2315. Enter, and then we arrow down. So this is what we're going to do. So 04.2315, enter, arrow down. So this is the step that we're going to do in step 2. So 04.2315. Once we type that number in, we press enter, and then you will see that on the screen here, you'll see that now we have April 23rd, 2015. The financial calculator recognized that we have April 23rd, 2015. And then we arrow down once, and then we're going to see DT2. So DT2 is the second date. So in step 3 here, our second date is July 21st, 2015. So 07.2115 for July 21st, 2015. So we're going to put 07.2115, and then we press enter, and then we arrow down. You're going to see DBD. DBD represent days between date. That's what DBD stands for, days between date. So once we see DBD, our step 4 is to compute. So we press the compute function. So CPT, top left corner, we press that CPT, and then you'll see that on the financial calculator, now we have 89, and that represents 89 days between those 2 dates. And that's the example that we have here. Example 3, on February 25th, 2006, Lowrider Automotive established a line of credit at its bank with interest at 7.4% per annum. This line of credit was used to purchase $4,000 of inventory and supplies. Lowrider paid $4,016.21 to satisfy the incurred debt. On what date did Lowrider Automotive honor the line of credit? So when we read the question, what we're looking for here is we're looking for what date did Lowrider Automotive honor the line of credit. So we're looking for T. T is what we're looking for. And so far, there are only 2 equations. The first equation is I equals PRT. Second equation is S equals P times 1 plus RT. And that's the equation that we're going to use in this example, S equals to P times 1 plus RT. And when we read the question, the first number that we see is 7.4%. That is your R, that's your interest rate per annum. The second number that we see is $4,000. That is our present value, that's the P. That's how much we purchased today. So that's the debt that we owe today. And the next number that we see is $4,016.21. That is our future value, that's the S. That's how much we paid at the end to pay off the debt. So therefore, that is the future value. That's your S. So once we have the P, once we have the S, once we have the R, then we can substitute that into the equation, and then we can solve for T. So S is $4,016.21. P is 4,000. Then your R, and then R is your 7.4%, so 0.074. And then T is what we're solving for. So once we substitute the numbers into the equation, we can solve for T. We can rearrange the algebra. We divide both sides by 4,000. So we have $4,016.21 divided by 4,000. And that equals to 1 plus 0.074 times T. and then you can solve the rest on your own. You're going to get t equals to 0.0547635. And what you need to know is that t is in years, but in the question, we want to find out the number of days. So therefore, we know to find out the number of days, what we're going to do is we're going to take t equals to x divided by 365. X is the number of day. We know that there are 365 days in 1 year. So therefore, our t equals to x divided by 365. And when we solve for x, we're going to get x equals to approximately 20 days. So once we calculated x equals to 20 days, then we can add it to February 25th to find out when we actually pay off the debt. So you can add it manually by counting it yourself, because in this example, there are only 20 days, so you can manually count it. But if it's more than 20 days, if it's like 50 days, 100 days, then it might be hard to calculate it manually. So therefore, I'll show you the financial calculator method. So February 25th is our DT1, that's our date 1, and we're solving for DT2, that's what we're solving for. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on second function date, and then we're going to put under DT1, the beginning date 1, we're going to put 02.2506 for February 25th, 2006. So 02.2506, and then you press enter, and that will set your date 1 to February 25th, 2006. And then we're going to go down. We're going to arrow down 2 times. So you're going to go down 2 times to DBD. Because we're given the DBD, we calculated the DBD is 20 days in between. So we have 20 days in between. So that's why we put DBD, days between is 20 days. We press enter. And then now we set the 20 days for the days between. Once we set the days in between, then we're going to go back up once. We're going to go back up once to DT2. Once we get to DT2, we're going to press compute. And then we're going to get the March 17th, 2006. And that's the answer for example 3.